Hello and welcome back. Now we're not playing any game today, so I wanted to show you some photos from a car show that was on the weekend on Saturday. So we're going to go in there and do that. Now this car show, it was raising money for the Cancer Society, which is a really good cause. My wife and I love to support that cause, but it's wee bit different from most car shows, okay? In that most car shows, it's free or next to nothing to show your car if you want at the show, but then you have to pay money to go in and look at them all. Whereas this one, you pay money to put your car in the show, and then it's free to come and view them. So we're going to have a look at some of the photos I took on at the show. I didn't do a video because it was just too crowded. Now, this Corvette here, this one left early for some reason, so I never got a chance to get a really close up look at it. I know it's not a 63, so it doesn't have a split window in the back, but it's obviously a very early one because it's got the horizontal grills in the side of the mudguard there rather than the vertical ones, and those are some very, very early looking wheel covers on there. So I suspect it's either a 64 or a 65, but it's definitely not 63, and I think by 66 I'd already gone to the vertical there, I think. So yeah, I think that's either a 64 or 65, but I'm not 100% certain because I never got to talk to the guy. He left early. Okay, that was a really nice Austin Healey that I saw there, and I was quite impressed with that. Sorry about that. Now this one here, the label on the windscreen, so in New Zealand, you can see that little label there. So in New Zealand, the car's registration sticker is stuck on the inside of the windshield there, and that will tell you the year and the make and the model of a car. So if you ever see a car parked somewhere and you're not quite sure what it is, you could look there to see. This one, it said on the label it was a home built, so it's obviously a kit car. I've never seen one exactly like this, but I've seen a lot that look very, very similar, and a lot of them are either Triumph powered with like a Triumph fueled engine, or Ford powered with a little like 1800 or 1600 Ford engine. So I suspect this one's probably Triumph powered, but I'm not 100% certain. All I know is that it's a kit car, so it's a home built car. Okay, now this one's a Vauxhall Viva. It was done up to look like a Viva GT, but it wasn't a genuine GT, and I can tell that because the genuine GT is a 2-door, this was a 4-door, but the guy had put a blacked out grille on it, so he'd painted all the chrome to be black, and he'd stuck some really nice mags on it and a nice stripe over it there, so it actually looked really, really nice even though it wasn't a factory GT. And he also did the black around the windows here, the side windows. On the normal Viva those were chrome and it was only black on the GT, so he's taken the chrome off the side of the windows and painted that black as well, and I think he did a really, really good job of it there. Okay. Now this is a Marcos. Okay, it was a reasonable sized car. It was bigger than the MX-5s, that's for sure, although it was a lot lower than an MX-5 is. This was incredibly low, this car, and I imagine it would be very, very difficult to get in and out of. This one here is a little Lotus Elise, Series 1, I'd say from the looks of it. Oh, it might be Series 2. Anyway, this is probably, it was actually looking remarkably wide, and it didn't, so I'm not sure whether this is smaller than the MX-5 or not. Certainly the cabin is, because it's got very, very big sills on it, but I don't know if the actual exterior dimensions, it's lower than an MX-5, but I don't know whether it's shorter and narrower or not. I didn't have a measuring tape with me, so I wasn't about to measure it, but it's probably comparable size to an MX-5. And this is a Citroen. I love my Citroens. There were 4 really nice Citroens there. There was this one, and this is a Citroen, what's it called, Traction Avant. Then there's a second Traction Avant there. And there were 2 Citroen 2CVs. I only took a photo of one of them because they were both the same colour. So there were a couple of modern Citroens as well, but those, the 2CVs and the Traction Avants, I just love those. I really, really love Citroens. Okay, this was a Triumph 2.5S. My wife's always partial to these Triumphs. She used to own one when she was much younger. Hers wasn't an S, it was only a 2 litre, not a 2.5, but she always dreamed of owning a 2.5 S or 2.5 PI. The S and the PI you could tell quite easily because they had the vinyl on the last pillar there and the badge there that said, and they had special mags, globe mags. This one doesn't have the S mags on it, so I don't know whether the mags have been sold at some point or whether they took them off for safekeeping, but this had aftermarket mags, and in my opinion the globe mags that come on the Triumph 2.5S or 2.5 PI are what make the car special. So this car I wasn't overly fussed with, but my wife liked it, so that's fine. My wife was rather taken with this too. This was one of the cars that was there that definitely was smaller than the MX-5s. Okay, this is a BMW Isetta. They are actually a 4-wheeler, but the 2 wheels on the back are right in the middle of the car, side by side, so they appear to be a 3-wheeler, but they are actually a 4-wheeler. And the door, they only have one door, and it opens at the front there. So that's the BMW Isetta. That's another picture of the Isetta. The add-on in the window there, they didn't have this Isetta for sale, but I've run into this couple a number of times at different car shows, and they have 2 cars, 2 classic cars. They've got this, the BMW Isetta, and they also have a British TVR, and they're trying to sell the TVR at the moment. It's been for sale for quite some time, and so the ad in the window there was for the TVR, in case someone was interested in that. Now, I've got a friend, Rog, who loves his big 2-door BMW, so I took a photo of the 2 that were there. So this is a 3-litre BMW, absolutely gorgeous. So some of these ones here, when they raced them in Group 5 racing, they put the big spoilers on the boot and the big flares on the guards, and they were nicknamed the Batmobile. But personally I think, and I know that Roger also thinks, that they look a lot nicer with the original bodywork on them, not all the flares and spoilers and everything else to turn them into the racing version. So that was absolutely gorgeous. And as well as the 3-litre there, they had a 635 here. The 2 of them parked side by side, as you can see in this photo. They were both absolutely stunning. Yeah, absolutely stunning. So I took those 2 photos for my friend Rog. This is a little Skoda 110. Now, it's funny because Skodas and Ladas were the butts of every car joke back in the day. You got the ones about why does a Skoda have a sunroof in it, so it doubles as a skip bin, or why does a Skoda have a heated rear window, so you can keep your hands warm while you're pushing it, and things like that. So yeah, these and the Ladas were the butt of every single car joke, but as a result, there's very few of them left around nowadays, and to see one that was in such mint perfect condition was quite neat actually. So I was quite impressed with this car, even though they weren't a wonderful car, but this was just such a perfect example, and you just never ever see them anymore. So very impressive. Now, I've got a really funny story about this AC Cobra here. So when it was displayed at the show, it didn't have the roof on it. Okay, but at the end of the show, when it was time to go, it started raining. So everyone that was there at the show with the convertible was frantically putting their roofs up. Now, the guy that had this AC Cobra, he opened the boot and got out all these little very tiny, skinny little aluminium poles and started assembling them into a thing for his roof to go on. So I wandered over to see if he wanted a hand, and he said, "Oh no, I'll do it, thanks, because if you do it wrong, the material will rip, and so I'd rather just do it myself, so I know exactly what I'm doing." So I chatted with him a wee bit, and he commented that even with the roof up, it's not overly waterproof really. It can leak through at the top of the windscreen there, where it all just domes there, water gets between the domes, plus it has no side windows, so it's not particularly waterproof. But it took him 20 minutes, I kid you not, 20 minutes to assemble this roof on the Cobra, and I could best describe it as someone trying to pitch a tent on the back of a car. So when he'd finally finished, 20 minutes later, I said to him, "Oh, I suppose I should put my roof up too." Wandered over to my car, which was like 2 cars over from here, flipped the roof up, clipped it in 7 seconds. and my one is completely waterproof after it's in place. So 7 seconds compared to 20 minutes. He didn't speak to me after that, so I wonder whether perhaps he was slightly upset at his car choice, at least momentarily. This one here, so as you can see, the cost of living crisis that's going around the whole world at the moment isn't sparing anybody. Even the A team's feeling it, so they've had to trade in their big V8 GMC van. It's just too expensive to run. So this is the new van that belongs to the A team, of course, and that's a little minivan. But yeah, apparently the owner of it does nickname it Mr. T because it's black with the red stripe and the red wheels. So I thought that was quite amusing. Magnum PI's Ferrari, or 308 GTS at least, although this wouldn't be his one. But it's the same as his. It's quite funny because I ran into one of the other guys from the MX5 club called Chris at the show, and he was looking at this and he said he was quite impressed with this Ferrari. He quite fancied that, and I said, we do realise that on top of the large amounts of money that I think it would normally cost to run an old Ferrari, you'd have the huge expense of extra fuel as well. He goes, how so? And I said, well, so if you run one of these, you'd have to have a moustache. Moustache and the Hawaiian shirt would be necessities with a car like this. And I do remember that at one stage, Jeremy Clarkson on Top Gear did an experiment, and he got a guy with a moustache to shave his moustache off. Then they stuck the hairs on a set of very fine scales and weighed how much a moustache weighs. Then they worked it out, and they worked out that if you had a moustache, you were going to spend an extra 5p, which is probably about 10 cents in New Zealand, 5 cents in America, every 10 years on petrol to carry around that extra weight. And of course it may even be slightly more than that with a car with no roof, because as well as the extra weight penalty, you'd have your what's called the wind rushing past. The drag coefficient would be a bit more screwed up with your moustache as well. So, but yeah, so if you grow a moustache so you can drive this car, you're going to be spending a good extra 10 cents every 10 years on petrol. So, I did tell Chris that that's something you'd have to consider. Also, of course, you'd have to ask his wife if he was allowed to grow a moustache, because I know some wives do not like any facial hair. I know mine doesn't. Some wives don't mind it. But yeah, so that was quite a nice Ferrari to look at. This, apart from my MX5, my wife's MX5, this was the only other MX5 that turned up on the day. So very, very nice looking NA, which was the very early the first ones. The wheels had been painted black. Personally, I prefer them in the original silver still, but it was quite a nice looking MX5 for all that. And there's my MX5 and my wife's MX5 side by side there. It's got the club flags and things there you can't really see in these pictures. And this was the first outing for our new co-drivers. And I think somewhere here I've got a better picture of the co-drivers. Max and Maximus are the new co-drivers. So there you go. There's a better picture of the co-driver. So we've both got identical beers as co-drivers in their cars for shows like this. I also had in mind, I've got these mats that I've made myself out of the old kids' road mats. I don't know whether in the States you get those or not. You certainly got them here. For little kids, you bought these rugs that had roads and things printed on them like that. So I got one of these rugs and I cut it up and turned it into 2 car mats. And then when I'm showing my car to show, see, I put little Hot Wheels MX5s on the mats driving around the roads. I just think it looks quite amusing to have little Hot Wheels MX5s driving on the roads on my car mats. So yeah, I did that, and I think, yep, so that's the last picture that I took there. And then the other thing I want to show you is that one of the guys that was at this car show, he had a Mark II Ford Escort 1978, and he got hold of an old sales brochure from 1978, and on the sales brochure it had this Escort that was the same colour as his. So he'd blown it up to about A2 size, so quite a big size, and he'd got it framed. And I thought that looked really, really neat, having a brochure from when his car was new displayed there next to his car. So when I got home, I did a bit of a Google search and I managed to find a website that has a lot of car brochures from all over the world and things for all different cars, and you can search by make, model and year and things. And I've managed to find a couple of decent pictures of MX-5s, basically the same as mine. So this one's left-hand drive, but I don't mind that. Don't know if I can make it full size here, show you. Anyway, this is one of the pictures. It's got the little picture at the top, the bigger picture, and your bigger, bolder, faster. And then the other brochure that I managed to find is this one here. After 3 generations, it still has everyone talking. So these two, and it's got a lot of quotes there from people that did test drives and things of it, you know, different car magazines when it was new, and all the impressive things they were saying about it. So my intention is I'm going to get these 2 pictures blown up to about A2 size and get them both framed, so at the next car show we go to, I will have brochures of when our cars were new. And so yeah, I thought that was pretty impressive. They're not quite exactly the same as mine. They are the same year and everything, but these are American specs. The left-hand drive, mine has a little yellowy orange circular reflector on the mudguard here, whereas the American ones had it ahead of the front wheel instead. And you can just see right there a little reflector on the side at the back. Mine doesn't have that because you didn't have to have that in New Zealand. So you can see that reflector better in this picture here. That little reflector there, I don't have that reflector, but I do have a little indicator on my front mudguard just there, a little yellowy orange circular one. But to be perfectly honest, I don't mind these left-hand drive and things. I really, really like these 2 pictures, so I'm going to get those 2 pictures framed to display with my car at the next show I do. So yeah, that was the pictures of the car show that I wanted to share with you. And now normally when I do a video, I make sure I'm caught up on all my video watching before I record one, but I know that at the moment I'm 2 videos behind with Fury and 1 video behind with AK, and one of Fury's ones is an hour-long video, so I will catch up when I can, but it could be a number of days yet, because here in New Zealand it's Tuesday today, and Tuesday, once my wife gets home from work, it's no devices day, so there won't be any, I won't be able to watch any YouTube or anything tonight. We're trying a no devices thing because my wife and I have found recently we've been drifting apart a wee bit, and obviously if you just keep on doing what you've always done, nothing will change. So if you want things to change, you've got to make changes. So one of the changes that we've decided to try, and we're on to week 2 of this now, is that on a Tuesday night we turn off all of our devices, with the only exception being if we decide to watch a movie together, then we'd be allowed them a device to watch a movie together on TV or something, but otherwise there's no devices, and we'll just spend time talking to one another and just to try and reignite what it feels like has been missing recently. Okay, well, I'm glad you got to see those photos, and I will catch up with you all again later. And as I said, I will catch up on my video watching at some point, but it could be a week or so. I'm sorry, I think it's just got out of hand with trying to keep up on videos. Okay, thanks. Bye.